Going on, everybody? My video cut out. I don't know what happened there, but I have to do a second video, so I'm probably just going to do this as a part 2. But basically where I was leaving off on was this candle here, right, looks a lot like this candle over here. So, and usually that means one more low, right? So one more low, according to what this candle would look like. Let's see, is there any other examples of that type of candle? It's pretty rare because it is the 2-month chart. I would have to look on the smaller time frames for more example of that. But basically it's a rejection. So we got rejected. We've had three bullish engulfing 2-month candles in a row. 3 of them in a row. So the statistical probability of this one being there isn't really too high, especially because we're battling the all-time high. But yeah, we have not gotten a 2-month close. The 1-month chart, right? The 1-month chart, we had a nice break above it. But this 1-month candle is actually engulfing the previous month, which is not good, right? That's not good. When I mean it's not good, I mean it's not good, at least in the short term. So that's kind of where we are with that. The 3-month candle. Remember I did a 3-month quarterly candle video, and I said a lot of times, right, when you have a big breakout on a 3-month or any candle, the following candle likes to come down 50% and retest it 50%. And that's right around where the bull market support band is now. So, according to that, that's sort of what's happening here, right? A lot of times, like for example, not a lot of good examples in here, but one of them would be this one here. We have engulfing. We came back and retested 50%. This was the end of the bull market, so it really doesn't count, right? But it still looks bullish. We are still on the 3-month candle. We're still holding above. We're still holding above the previous all-time high. So that's actually a good thing, right? So here's our all-time high, right? On a 3-month candle, we broke above the all-time high, our previous resistance, and now this candle came all the way down and it's retesting it. So actually, I would say the 3-month candle is much more important than the 2-month or 1-month. So we still have 2 months left in the candle. So, we still got plenty of time for this thing to go lower or even to recover higher. But the important thing is right now it is retesting this prior. It would make more sense for us to wick down here and test the bull market support band and then eventually get bought back up, and then hopefully this thing can turn into a green candle in here, right? With a nice tail at the bottom. So it's yet to be the case. So it's kind of a wait and see situation. So as far as some of the altcoins, like I said, Theta Fuel Theta Fuel's still bullish. We broke above. We're back testing the bull market support band. Some of the altcoins like QNT, it's still looking good. This is all very corrective. Obviously, this is corrective too. But what corrects up corrects down. What corrects down often obviously goes back up. So we'll see. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 waves down. Yesterday's video I talked about, the 7 waves. Obviously, it's theory based, but it's basically an extra wave. It's really 5 waves. with an extra 2 waves, right? But it's basically, a good probability that the bottom could be close. The bottom can be, pretty close here. So, I mean, we got a lot of wiggle room here on this one. We came up and we're sort of just correcting down. You can see Bitcoin is way down here, right? It's way down here. A lot of the altcoins are way up here. So I'm actually pretty proud of that assessment, talking about, I mean, because that's really been the main topic for the last couple of weeks. I don't think many people were talking about, which is the fact that if Bitcoin comes down to the bull market support band, what will happen to the altcoins? And that's sort of been the big sort of thing, right? What happens to the altcoins if Bitcoin does that? So what I was explaining is, well, a couple things can happen. Let me just put on total 3 here. And it could still be not the case, because remember, Bitcoin, it hasn't yet tested it, right? So we can easily lose it. But one of the things, right, we're talking about is, if Bitcoin comes down, because if you compare where Bitcoin is now, it's basically right here. Well, the altcoins are a little bit higher, so they have a little bit of cushion, right? But Bitcoin still needs to get down here, which would mean probably the altcoins would be cutting it very close, at least for total 3. So let's see another example here. Ethereum. Now Ethereum doesn't really have much room to the downside, but it was a pretty sharp move down. So I would expect probably 1, 2, 3. Maybe we come up 4, and then we flush down for 5. And then hopefully that's the low, right? You would think we have 5 waves. We're back down, having a double bottom here. So, we felt support in here. So that would be the case. Now, if we slice right through it, then we would probably lose all of it. And the next support would be all the way about here, about $26.50 or $2,700, and we're currently about $29.71. So not too far off, And then basically what that would be is sort of, it could be like a diagonal, I guess you could say, where you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that would actually be, I'm considering, the altcoins, instead of an ABC, it could be diagonal if we break this low, which is also pretty bullish. It's kind of like a falling wedge, but not really wedgy, right? Kind of like that. And it's kind of like a bull flag, right? So we come down here, we break out, back test, and continue higher. And that would be sort of the idea. Kind of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bull flag, diagonal, sweep the low. Yeah, we would lose the bull market support band momentarily, but it's all fitting for this type of correction. You could see how big the flagpole is. I mean, look how big it is, right? So this flag is actually proportional to the flagpole, if that's what it's going to be, right? So yeah, that's kind of where we are there. Let's see, XRP. XRP is still holding around the back test zone, not so well, but basically here was our support in here. We broke out. We did lose it, but we're sort of in the middle here. So, we're kind of in between this bottom of the range and this top of the range. So out of all of them, I would say XRP has the most wiggle room. This was pretty straight here, and this is kind of choppy in here. So I would expect, you know, this to hopefully have a retracement at some point. Let's see. I mean, we could see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. So maybe it's done. You know, that would make sense for the altcoins, but it doesn't really make too much sense for Bitcoin. So, you know, if Bitcoin goes down further, I could totally see this, you know, finishing out here. And that would probably be an A, a B, and then a C. So some type of three-way move down where we retest the lows before we go higher. So, you know, Ethereum, XRP, you know, they could have that extra dump down simply because Bitcoin is still not quite there yet. So, I mean, we're getting close. We're not too far away, I guess. About right there. So, let's see. If I take a retracement and it's interesting where I would put it here. I would probably put it there. Yeah, it would actually it kind of makes sense that we're stopping here. I mean, we're stopping right at the 1.414. So that would be interesting if we can get a reversal here. So similar, so like check this out. Look how close we came down here, right? We had our low, right? Here's our support. We came up, right? We came down and we took out the low, right? We took out the low. It's like, okay, you know, we're going down, but what happened was we bounced back up, right? And then it's like, okay, maybe we have a lower high, a 1, 2, and then we can continue. But it actually went down a lot more, but it missed the bull market support band. So that's kind of interesting how it missed it. And it got pretty close, but it missed it. So what if that's happening now, where we come down just a little bit more, or maybe it's done now, where we kind of miss it. So you can kind of see the wave structure. It looks slightly the same. You can see this 1, 2 dump with this sort of channel in the middle, and then another dump. So let's see what this one looks like. Okay, well that makes sense. Look at this. We have this 1, 2. It's not really a 1, 2 because you have this wick up here, but let's just say 1, 2. You have the dump, and then you have this channel in here, right? This channel right here with this final dump. So that's kind of interesting. Actually, yeah, I didn't even really notice that. So let's do this. Let's take a bars pattern from here to here, and let me make it a little bit smaller. And then what I'm going to do is we're just going to compare the wave structure. I'm trying my hardest to give us some, you know, reasoning. I mean, obviously this is not financial advice. Anything could happen. Always know that. But, you know, I'm just trying to do my best to see if we can have any sort of edge on the rest of the market. Looks pretty good. So let me just put them side by side here, and let me actually go down to the 2-hour chart because it is a little bit smaller. And okay, so this wave here obviously missed the bull market support band. So we're comparing this sort of ending structure in here. So what we can see from the fractal is a 1, 2 with a dump. The same thing with the price. We have a 1, 2 with a dump, right? And then we kind of go in this channel pattern, right? This little channel pattern right in here. And in that we have 1, 2, 3, dump. This one's a little bit longer. We actually have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and dump. So I'm not sure what that means necessarily, but it is a little bit longer, but the wave structure itself is kind of the same, right? You have this 1, 2 down, 1, 2 down, channel, channel, and then we have the dump, and then we have the dump. So theoretically, it should be close to being finished, according to the fractal, right? If this fractal is true. Now, the other fractal obviously didn't work out, so a lot of times they don't, but we're just comparing one wave in here. It'll be interesting to see. So how it sort of played out in here was basically we had something like this, right? And then we just, carried on, right? We had a big pump, we had a bull flag, and we broke out. So now let's bring this over here. We could see something like that. I mean, that would be nice. Now, I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. Not even close. But I'm just kind of giving us little ideas, little examples of some possibilities, what to look for. So, something to that effect would be kind of interesting, right? Where you have this, you play down here. Maybe we get a little bit lower, right? Maybe what I would actually like is us to hit the bull market support range. Let's just get it over with. I mean, we're right there. Let's just go. Just go. Just do it now. Hit it. Wick off of it. And then let's just get it over with. Because it feels like it's just dragging and dragging and dragging. So, is it going to hit it? I don't really know. It would be ideal, right? Because then we wouldn't have it in the back of our minds, right? Because I always like to look forward. I always like to say, okay, forget what you feel about right now. What am I going to feel about it in a couple months, right? Because in a couple months, if we get, something else, we're going to wish we had tested it. You know what I mean? So we're so close to testing it. Let's just, just test it already. And what it could look like after that is quite interesting. And then what we would have, right? What we would have here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, A, come up for B, and then we would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 with an extended fifth. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? Which would finish out C. Then we would have a 1, and then this would be 1, and then we flag out for 2, and then we go up for 3. Now it could be any shape. This is just a visual representation of kind of what we can expect. The 1 can come up, and we can come all the way back down. And then go, it can flag out. It could be many different things. But that's kind of what we are looking at today. So far, we're holding here. Let's see. Let's turn on the sequential. On the 2 hour, we're on an 8 on the 2 hour. So, the next, in 1 hour, we're going to get a 9. And then I would say in the next 3 hours, we'll have maybe a decision candle. So it's going to be really interesting. I think that the next big move is going to come after the daily close. So the daily close is in 3 hours. And if we close where we are now, we're basically closing below this close here, and we're closing below this low here. So we have, like I said, 3 hours by the time of recording this video. What's going to happen? Well, your guess is as good as mine. So, take everything I talked about today, take it into consideration. Remember, not financial advice. I will say, however, I like the way some of these altcoins are holding up, right? Bitcoin's way down here. It's basically threatening to break the low. You know, when you look at things like XRP, we had a pretty big pump, and we're just sort of drizzling down sort of correctively. So it would have, so, you know, Bitcoin is kind of telling a different story than the altcoins. And what's nice about it is, again, Bitcoin is pretty close to the bull market support band, right? It's pretty close, maybe about 5-6% away, right? Whereas XRP, you know, if Bitcoin were to go down, yeah, we would probably go down a little bit more, but we would still hold structure, right? This would still be the low. It would just be a part of this bigger correction in here. Because the main thing is we have a low, we want a higher low. We get a higher low, we have a three-wave shape, right? 1, 2, where's 3? We need 3. Where's 3? Well, 3's not there yet because Bitcoin hasn't, you know, finally bottomed. Maybe it already bottomed, maybe not. It's a tough one. Corrections are always very tough to nail, especially when you have two different charts telling two different stories, and when Bitcoin's, you know, at the all-time high. But when you sort of summarize what you have here, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So this correction is ideal, and that 5 waves is part of is part of the 5th wave of this 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it would make sense to get something kind of big like this. But then again, you know, if we do come down and do something like this, right, it would just be a larger ABC, A, come up for B, and then C. Something like a 1, 2, 3, a bigger 3-wave shape, right? But that's, you know, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. We're not really there yet. So I would imagine a lot of people are buying the dip, right? It's 60,000, you know, a lot of the ETFs. I mean, this is hopefully in their mind, this is as cheap as they're going to get it. You know, 60,000, 55,000. Hopefully they're accumulating. I know we're dangling by support. If we do lose the support, we have this support down here. It's not very big, but in between 53 and 55, and that would make sense. So the retracement from this wave here to the top is, look at that, we actually hit the 618. So I didn't really notice that yet. Let's see here. So when I take this, I'm going to put on the bottom of this wave. So basically from the bottom of this wave to the top of this wave has retraced officially 618, right? So we officially had a 618 retrace. Let me try to pinpoint it here. Yeah, so you can see, right? You can see the last time when we came down here and we took out this liquidity from breaking this low, we didn't really hit the 618. We came close, but we missed it. This candle officially hit the 618. So the question is it enough? We'll see, right? The 786 is right at the bull market support band. It would be kind of nice to have the bull market support band be a little bit higher, or maybe around the 702. But, you know, it is what it is. So if I stretch it out a little bit, you know, by, you know, probably within the next 2 weeks, it would be around that 702 area. So that's kind of all I got for us today. I mean, Ethereum looks kind of 5-wave-ish here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Unless this is a 1, 2, 3, and then we get 4 and 5. That's probably what we're gonna get. If I had to, so basically to summarize, if I had to make my best guess, on Bitcoin. I would probably say that, where's the bull market support band? So let me just stretch it out here. I wish TradingView pushed it out a little bit more. Basically, we'd probably come up in a correction, get a bounce, and then finish it off. And then have it be finished. So that's kind of, if I had to guess, my best guess, it would be that. Now, if the low's in now, perfect. Great. Hey, I will take it 100%. If it's not, then hey, we test the bull market support band, then it is, then at least we tested it and we got it over with. As far as the altcoins, what I really would like to see for the altcoins is for them to hold their previous low, you know, something we talked about. Here's the low, here's the low, here's the move up. Want to see it, if we do come down in here somewhere and retest some of these bottom wicks down in here, then it is what it is, right? But as long as we hold above here, I'd say the structure is still good. Now, as far as Theta goes, you know, Theta is a lot lower down. But again, we're still, you know, we haven't broken these lows down in here. Actually, let me take everything off. And basically, the good thing about Theta is we retested the bull market support band, right? And we do have kind of a 7 wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Doesn't really mean much unless Bitcoin does its thing. But essentially, here's our close low and here's our ultimate low. So basically, we came all the way down and we met up with these lows in here. So, and we tested the bull market support band. So we really want to see support hold in here. We could come back up one more wave and come down and get one more low. That's okay, but as long as we stay in this orange band, right? I could see that happening. If Bitcoin kind of pumps up a little bit and then slams down to its bull market support band, not too far away, then I could see Theta doing that as well. The percentage potential would be, yeah, you know, you still got about 10 or 12% to play with. So you got plenty of percentages to play with in the event that Bitcoin does do it. Basically, why am I making such a big deal about it? Because the whole thing about it is we want the altcoins, right, to hold their structure, right? I mean, Theta had a 55% drop back down to its bull market support band. We really want to hold that, right? So we can have continuation. If we lose it, we could still have continuation, but it's just going to take a lot longer to go through, right? We would end up back testing in here if we lost it, come down in here, right? And then probably play around in here for some time before getting through here. Then we would have to spend more time battling the retracement, and then eventually we would break out. And then probably by that time it would be closer to the end of summer. So, you know, we're really dangling by a thread here. We can either have a quick recovery, right? Maybe one more little low, a quick recovery in here, flag out, continue higher before summer, right? Before, you know, maybe get up to that $5, $6, $7 area before summer kicks in, right? And have that correction. Or if we lose it, we would probably spend more time down here before getting it later on. So that's why it's kind of a big deal, because we're at basically a crossroads between something that's taking a while or something that's, you know, we can get some momentum back before a potential summer lull. All right, guys, that'll do it for this video. Hopefully it was somewhat helpful. But, you know, long story short, there's no reason to panic. There's no reason to be bummed out. You know, this is actually a good thing if we come down and test it and hold it. and it's Bitcoin deserves it. It deserves to have this sort of break because it didn't get to test it yet, and then ultimately it would be better for us later down the road. It's not what we really wanted to happen, right? We all want fast, quick price action, but at the end of the day, it's about market structure, holding above key areas and testing areas that need to be tested once in a while. And honestly, Bitcoin hasn't tested it since it broke above. So it's not very surprising. I mean, yesterday video I did say, hey, probably we can hold it, but there's always a chance we can break it, and we did. So we haven't completely broke support, but if we do, take it with open arms. It's all about your attitude. That's really what it comes down to. Investing, you got to have the proper psychology. You got to have proper mindset. You got to keep your emotions in check, and you got to have a proper attitude, right? Don't be, you can't control. Don't get upset about things you can't control. If you're a hodler, you didn't lose anything, right? You didn't lose anything, right? If you sell at a loss, then you lost. But if you buy low, which if you've been following my channel, I know most of us have been accumulating well below $1, then just look at it as a pit stop. When I say $1, I mean Theta. As far as XRP, it's been more lackluster. But again, we have ammunition, right? We have potential settlement coming soon. So I think if that happens, it'll boost all of crypto, not just XRP. So hopefully that comes soon. But even if it doesn't come soon, the big thing for me is finishing up the ABC, hitting that bull market support band, getting the impulse, and buying the three-way pullback, and then accelerating. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Hopefully that helped. I will catch you guys on the next one. If you can be amazing if you get that like button. Also, comment below what you guys think. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear them. And if you want to support the channel, you can always do so through the YouTube tip jar. And I will catch you guys on the next one. Cheers.